Hot Takes. We hopefully have another new man in purple. The Vikings have offered their head coach position to Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. We're here to talk about the end of Minnesota's head coach search, coming to you live now. So it's time.
Let's go a Viking on Viking Hot Takes.
Welcome to the fast-moving Minnesota Vikings talk show, Viking Hot Takes. We've got me, Flip Mozzie. We've got Eric J. Thompson. We've got 6 questions, 20 minutes, and the fans with the answers in the comments. So buckle up and let's go. Eric, how you doing, man?
I mean, it's been quite a 24 hours in Vikings land, quite a week overall, but especially the it's been quite a whirlwind. The Harbaugh little weird faces on Vikings Twitter came and went already. It has been quite the whirlwind, but I think the Vikings got their guy. It might not have been choice A number one going into the week, but I think the new regime is here, and it's a new head coach and a new GM, and I'm excited for the new tenure.
Yeah, I'm excited and I'm excited for the show. You know we move fast here.
Let's do it.
So we're going to put the countdown in and we're going to start with the first of 6 questions. Please answer if you're in the comments. Eric, do you feel a little used by Jim Harbaugh?
I mean, I get why a lot of Vikings would feel that way. I mean, it looked like it was a sure thing. I mean, Wednesday morning, it was like, it's Happy Harbaugh Day. He's just coming here to sign, and they got a new head coach. And especially if we hear that Harbaugh gets an extension in a couple weeks or something like that from Michigan, I think it'll be hard not to put two and two together and be like, okay, the Vikings were maybe a little more of a bargaining chip than an actual destination for Harbaugh. But personally, no, I don't feel used by Harbaugh. I mean, it's a business, and for whatever reason, it was decided that Harbaugh was going to go back to Michigan, and he's going to be there at least in 2022. And to be honest, like, are we sure that it was Harbaugh using the Vikings here? Like, because like, we 100% sure? Maybe not the other way around, maybe a little. Like, again, it was reported that Harbaugh left the meeting. It was the 9 hour, that's apparently the standard head coaching meeting for the Vikings this week. He didn't leave with the contract offer. And, perhaps the Vikings saw the opportunity there. They're really intrigued by having a big name in Harbaugh and having his track record. He's one of the more, it's not as large of a sample size as some of the more winning coaches, but he has a really good winning percentage and he's won everywhere he went. But maybe they had serious plans about bringing him in, and after Wednesday's meeting, they just decided he might not have been the best candidate. Who knows? Like, we weren't there in the meeting or anything like that, and it could have gone back and forth, and maybe the Vikings uh, offered him something, and Harbaugh got cold feet and just wanted to go back to Michigan. So, but I mean, that's the thing. It probably, Harbaugh this is probably a bargaining chip for both sides of it. I don't personally feel used by it though, because again, like, this is coaches. I mean, this on the list of the scale of things that college coaches do to their programs and players and everything else. This is pretty low. I think. I mean, everyone made such a big deal about him. Oh, he's leaving on signing day. That must be that he's going to the Vikings. I'm sure Michigan did most of their signings well before signing day. Like, that's it's nice having that
Mhm.
the caveat. But I mean, do you feel used by it? I mean, I feel
Yeah.
weird. Like, I was excited about Harbaugh, but I just don't see that it was like just being used by him.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of the fellow fans. It's like, as more and more information came out, sounds like Harbaugh showed up to the test without pencil or paper. So it's like, what are you going to do? And all four candidates I thought were pretty good. So I like the
Right.
fact that at the end of the day, Quasey got a variety of candidates in the door. You know, this might not be his only head coach hire here with the Vikings or even in his career. So it's important for him to get multiple looks at this process. Um, but what we'll get into later is we're running out of time here. That was my concern last week. So I think Jim Harbaugh literally wasted our time. Even if he didn't do it on
Mm.
purpose, the fact that he showed up for an interview unprepared to actually interview meant it was a waste of our time. So I hope that doesn't hurt us.
Yeah, and if O'Connell was at the top of the list, and it seems like, Darren Wolfson, I think, did a really good job reporting. It was like the Vikings really like O'Connell. I think they had to at least
Yeah.
explore the Harbaugh opportunity. I don't think the Harbaugh thing came to light until like late last week, early this week. I think it was like, oh, he might be interested. I think they had to at least do their due diligence, and of course that made
Mhm.
Vikings fans across the country go absolutely bonkers. It's like, oh, there's a huge big name coach. What a way for the new GM to start it. So yeah, I, I I'm not, I don't feel like, oh, we can't, like, we're gonna hate Harbaugh going forward. So before
Yeah.
we go into, we're gonna have a lot of O'Connell talk. I had to give you a platform. You had so many nice things to say. You said when it was going to be Raheem Morris. Have you held your moment of silence yet for Raheem Morris?
I trust Quasey. I trust Vikings ownership, especially right now. Um, no, I haven't. I can't see why he wasn't higher on their list. And what really bugs me about the Raheem Morris thing is, for some reason, he's not seen as a Shanahan McVay disciple. Why is he separate from that tree? I mean, this is a guy who spent 9 years with Jay Gruden, just like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan did. He spent 4 years with Kyle Shanahan in that Atlanta, one of the most productive offenses of our era. He was the passing game coordinator for that Falcons offense. And now he's with Sean McVay coaching in the Super Bowl. So why is he viewed as separate from this new age coaching trend when he has the exact same experience. That's my big gripe with Raheem Morris and why he seemed to rank last in their final coaching search. It bugs me.
That's fair. I think that the number one reason that Morris probably isn't considered as part of the McVay tree is because he was around in the NFL probably when McVay was still in high school. Because if your
Yeah.
age doesn't start with a 3, then you can't be on the McVay tree or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I get the appeal, and you made your case for him last week. I literally after our show last week, I'm like, all right, okay, I like Morris. He was always up there for me too, but like, I don't really have a whole lot to add here. I just wanted to give you the floor to show tonight and say your piece before we moved on to okay, I better say this at the top of the show. Our presumed new regime. Again, this is the Vikings, and pen has not met paper, and it can't meet paper until at least Valentine's Day. So who knows? But for right now,
It's literally the Joker meme, like, and here we go, like
right,
every day.
there are
Yeah.
still 11 days before O'Connell can officially become the coach, and who the hell knows what's going to happen there? All right, Noah, what's your next question?
Where did Kevin O'Connell rank on your coaching list?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think he was at the very tippy top for me, especially when he was first introduced as a candidate. And I don't, I wasn't as high on Raheem Morris. I wasn't like he is the answer like you were, but like I probably had him above O'Connell just because of his experience on both sides of the ball, and he has the experience as head coach. Just I like having that again. And it's not like it was a sterling track record as head coach, but it was there's experience there, and it was the same kind of thinking, when Todd Bowles was first in the mix. I liked that he had again, it was the Jets, and it turned out to be a disaster at the end. But I just like the familiarity there, especially with a new GM. But I mean, when O'Connell was named as a finalist, that really made me like, okay, here we go. And I was certainly didn't have a problem with it. Like I didn't like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy, who's this guy? He definitely, first of all, he spent time with Sean McVay, and everyone in the NFL knows that if you just touch Sean McVay or shake his hand or something like that, you become a great coach purely by osmosis. Like that seems to be
Yeah.
the new
Yep.
thing. Oh, you're young and it's Sean McVay, you're hired. But I really think it's because he's a first-time head coach, and there were several well-qualified candidates, a lot of candidates that a lot of Vikings fans liked. Even if you exclude all the Harbaugh stuff this week and the hoopla around it really sounds like O'Connell was the guy before Hurricane Harbaugh swept through town and left just as quickly as it came. Like I said, Darren
Yeah.
Wolfson, like he maintained throughout the week that don't count O'Connell out. And I had heard from a couple other people too that basically if this Harbaugh thing doesn't work out, we decide like O'Connell's the guy. So that seems to be have held true. So yeah, and I get the whole like he isn't calling the plays in LA, and what's he doing as an offensive coordinator this young, and but I've said countless occasions on the show, like I am much more concerned with what kind of leader the head coach is. I love
Yes.
that
Yep.
Adofo-Mensah and O'Connell are both young, forward thinking. They're first timers. They have a blank canvas to work with. That's scary as hell. It is. Like, we don't know what their overall plan is. But the fact that they can start
Yeah.
on square one together rather than bringing in someone like Harbaugh who's going to have his own baggage one way or the other, like, you're not starting with a blank slate with him. You're doing things. I mean, that's kind of why Harbaugh left San Francisco. It was his way or the highway kind of thing. That, there's a limited shelf life for what it seems like he likes to do there. And again, if adofo-mensah and O'Connell don't win a whole bunch of games the first 3 years, there's probably a good chance that one or both of them get replaced. But it gives them a chance to build together and get everyone on the same page. So that's what I like about it. Where do you rank on
Yeah.
yours? I know
Yeah.
you have, he's
It
behind Morris, but yeah.
He is, like I said, I like a lot of these candidates, and you can totally see the rationale, and this is workable
Right.
into success over the next few years. That said, gonna do my Debbie Downer thing. Sorry, y'all, but the finalist, Kevin O'Connell, ranked big fat number 4 for me, dead last.
Oh,
It's
okay.
and the last thing I wanted was a scheme wizard, and I get that he's respected around the league. It's nice that he's young and offensive minded, but he's literally nothing else. Already, people are propping this up by saying, "Look, our players, our offense, it's going to be great. It's going to be just like the Rams. Justin Jefferson is now Cooper Kupp. And that is just complete bullshit. Number one, if he's really a good offensive mind, he will adjust his scheme to fit the players. He won't be adjusting the players to fit the scheme. That is ass backwards. And then number two, just like you said, all the things we actually talk about, leadership, culture. I don't know if he has any of that. And I'm not going to say he doesn't have it, but I don't know. And that's the one thing that I wanted to know with a new head coach. So that to me means that this stuff is going to fall on the players when things are going well, just like in Cincinnati and in Los Angeles in the for the Chargers. I'm sure it'll all be good. But if it gets sideways, I just want someone who's been there before. I hope people can just see that this, I mean, he's young. He's really young
Yep.
and he doesn't have anything but the scheme. We are only getting a good offensive scheme, it seems like, right now.
And he does have a little experience with one Kirk Cousins back in the old Washington days. So
Oh, don't
I
get
think
me
that might,
started. Don't
I
get me
know, I know.
started.
I had to poke the bear a little bit. Yeah, those are all valid concerns. But again, I don't mind the clean slate. And again, he must have made a hell of an impression in these interviews because he didn't have that experience that a lot of the other candidates did. All right, we got to keep on
Right.
track here. We got a few more questions left. All right.
Oh, we got to
With all
move.
the new people, yeah, with all the people coming in, we had a few coming leaving. So, how will the departures of Ryan Ficken, Andrew Janocko, and Clint Kubiak affect the Vikings going forward?
Uh, not great, Bob. I mean, Ficken and Rauscher are the only ones I actually care about. First, with the offensive line coach, Phil Rauscher, I understand the players liked him. The offensive line did suck. Ficken, 15 years in Minnesota, and he just fixed our special teams unit. So I really like that. Ideally, you have the head coach in place and he decides who he wants to keep or let go. So for a young coach, the fans are saying in the comments, there's a lot of spots to fill on the coaching staff right now.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Clint Kubiak could very well turn out to be a nice coordinator, but I am very glad he will no longer be working out the kinks as offensive coordinator of my favorite team. And I don't think I'm alone in wishing
Yeah.
him well, but not losing any sleep over that one. I think the Ficken one really, it
Yeah.
might hurt. I mean, that special teams unit as a whole hadn't been this good since basically the pre Chris Cluey accusation Mike Prefer days. Like it's been a while since
Yeah.
the special teams have been
Yeah.
that good. And so, I mean, like both return units were a lot better in coverage. The kicking game, outside of a couple pretty notable misses, weren't an abject disaster. And like that now, of course, he just must love challenges, Ficken, because he took one pretty cursed special teams unit. Now he's going to the Chargers. Like that team has its own like special team. Like they screw up 3 or 4 games a year just on special teams. So good luck to him. But yeah, like I think that's going to be the biggest
Right.
departure. It kind of seemed like Janocko might have been a little bit of like a Kevin Stefanski in training, still a younger guy. He knew several different parts of the team, and it looked like he was being groomed for bigger things by the Vikings. But now we'll see exactly how much he can groom Justin Fields. He's going to still be familiar with this because he's just going to Chicago. So, yeah, that's the only one
Right.
that's left thus far that I'm really concerned about is Ficken, because finding a good special teams guy, especially with this team, is kind of tough. It can be a little difficult.
Yeah, I don't want to take that special team unit for granted. He did a great job. Next
Right.
question, Eric. The Washington Commanders.
With question marks and exclamation points after it. Yeah, like what the hell? I mean, it's so
What?
weak. I mean, it really is. Like at the its very best, it's just lame. It's boring. Like I mean, I like the Washington football team a lot better. Like it was unique. It had that like the old school soccer team kind of feel. Like it was, but and like yes, the team name it's really unimaginative. It's kind of meh. It seems like like that's something you'd name a team when you don't have the rights to the NFL. Like old video games that it didn't have NFLPA rights, so they had named their team the Commanders. Like and the uniforms, like they look like they're straight out of like an
Oh,
Under Armour high school All Star game, don't they? Like that's like I've seen like oh this guy's he's committed to Clemson and he's wearing this stupid jersey. Like and especially like the black alternates with the Wario looking W right on the front
oh,
of their
the
helmets. I mean,
worry.
like, yeah, like it's bad. It's in like the burgundy and gold. That's a good color scheme. That's a classic
Yeah.
color scheme. And that's one of the few traditions that Washington has that isn't offensive or bad. Like that's the rich part of your tradition. Do that, like. And I'm sure in a few years the commander's name will be just fine and it won't be as revolting. But as usual, it's Washington screwed it up. Like from the early leaks into that official release video, the official release video that Washington put out. Like it had
Yeah.
very prominently that old name that they had to change the name to the Commanders in the first place. A lot of the logo, a lot of that old name. It's like, yeah, I get it. That was part of your tradition, but like, maybe not celebrate it when you're, making the name change that you had to make because of that. So, yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's so unimaginative, poorly rolled out, everything you expect from Dan Snyder's team. And I mean, just go full Keanu Reeves in the replacement. Call them the Sentinels. Like do something with. I mean, that has more history than the Commanders. You know what I mean? I mean, like,
Just something with a
yeah,
little joke. Yeah. That's
yeah,
fair. I will say, like, so what bothers me about it is, if you're gonna go generic, like, how about the captains? Instead of the commanders, just be the Washington Captains. That's still leadership. That still works.
yeah.
I mean, and also pro tip: dog breeds are underrated when it comes to mascot name. You can go with the boxers or the terriers or the retrievers. The Eagles versus the Beagles would literally be better than the
I like it.
Washington Commanders. But the real loss is the uniform, because like the football team
Hmm.
did have a great look, no name and a
Yeah,
great look. So you can update the name, just keep the look the same. And what bothered me about the new uniforms is they were all just one color. There was no like burgundy top, white bottom. It was like all burgundy or all black. And I'm like, man,
I
that's
mean,
not going
maybe
to
they
look
mix them.
good.
Yeah, maybe they mix and match like the Chargers do with the pants and stuff like that. But still,
I
it's you're not saving that.
I
Like
hope
the
so.
burgundy ones are okay. The burgundy ones are okay. The white ones are just like futuristic for futuristic stakes, and those alternate black ones are just an absolute disaster. It's. I mean, but what do we expect? It's
With
Washington.
the
Okay,
French fry
we we
numbers. All right, let's move back.
we
Let's go back to the
I'm
Vikings.
glad. Yes, I'm very glad we got that off our chest. Though we had to talk about that. That was terrible.
We
All
will
right,
always
my
talk uniforms on this show.
absolutely. It's very important. So, all right, my final one. O'Connell's got a staff to fill out. If who are your choices for the coordinators under O'Connell?
I literally might just pass this back to you, Eric. They seem to be mostly
What?
gone. You know, offense, Thomas Brown, the Rams running back coach. And it sounds like he has kind of like that Mike Tomlin type attitude about coaching. But that is a run based, look for the offense. And then on defense, he's apparently close with John Cooley, the Rams secondary coach. Kwesi has connections to Vic Fangio, but I
Hmm.
mean, we may just have two old hat coordinators. That's the best case scenario. People are saying Wade Phillips.
Well, he had sent out that tweet today. Like he said, he just posted it was just the offense was ranked 12th and the defense was ranked 30th. Very, not very analytical if he's trying to please Kwesi there. But well, the one
Seriously.
thing is his son is on the. I mean, you know how the Vikings love nepotism. That his
Yep.
son is on
Yeah.
the Rams staff right now. So maybe, yeah. So that's you don't have, yeah, I don't have like a ton either, I guess, like, but it's going to be important who he surrounds himself with. Like I wouldn't mind Vic Fangio. Like I like the contrast of new guy and experience. And some coaches are just really good coordinators and kind of not very good head coaches. And I think Fangio kind of falls in that
Right.
in that category. We see it all the time. And plus he's familiar with the division. He was on the Bears 3 years ago, and but the offensive side, man,
Hmm.
that's wide open in my opinion. I don't really have a ton of
Who's
guys that
calling
can
the plays?
right, that's going to be huge. Like, and that's obviously very crucial. And like, which coach? But like, just get away from the run first mentality, like that has hindered this offense. Which coach is going to get the most out of Cousins? Someone just tell him, "Hey, dude, you've been in the league for a decade now. Go ahead and freestyle a little bit. Do it. You can improv. You can change the play at the line if you don't like the coverage. You don't have to check down because
Right.
that was your third read and that was the only open one. Do something like that. We have a clean slate. That's the best part about this regime. Let's make the most of it.
Finishes on time. Viking Jerome, you are right. The Vikings do have the best helmet in the NFL. Kubiak will not
Especially on
be
Tech
calling the
Football.
plays, so that is appreciated. But yeah, we'll just have to see how this staff builds, and we're gonna have to see. It's Pro Bowl and Super Bowl time, Eric. I'm watching the skills competition. Who are you picking for the Super Bowl? Wait, who are you
Man,
picking for the Pro Bowl first? AFC or NFC?
if you're picking or gambling on the Pro Bowl, shame on you. Like you're just a degenerate. No, I won't be
You're the pick
watching the Pro Bowl
master.
because I'm not even gonna be watching, so I'm not even gonna pick because I'm gonna be on the
That's true.
beach in 2 days. So I am out for the Pro Bowl. I'm gonna come back right before the Super Bowl, and man, I really want to pick the Bengals because it's a fun story and it seems like they're on riding a wave. But the Rams, this is what they've built that team for, and that like it'd be cool, to have a head coach that's fresh off a Super Bowl win, like that's nice, and that the Rams went
Yeah.
all in, they pushed all their chips in, they traded all the first round picks. They got to do it. I don't know if I think it's gonna be a close game. I think I might pick the Bengals against the spread if it stays at that 4.5 or whatever it's at now. But I'm leaning towards the Rams. So how about you?
Okay, he's got the Rams. Yeah, I'm in LA, so I gotta root for our new head coach. So I'm gonna go Rams as well.
I like it.
And hey, we'll hope for that video with the Bengals fans celebrating the AFC Championship did touch my heart a little bit, but
It
Rams
brought
to
back
take it
Minneapolis
home.
Miracle Man. It brought back. I'm like, oh, we did that the round before. That was the happiest moment in my franchise of my life. Yay! God. Okay. One day, Flip. This
One
regime, maybe it will
day.
be this. Maybe adofo-mensah and O'Connell will take us to the promised land, and we'll look back on the show finally and be like, look, this is where it all started. But it's also
He's
the
literally
Vikings.
going to apply that experience right away, build a Super Bowl winner in Minnesota after he wins one himself. That's what we're hoping for. Loving the answer in the comments. Thank y'all for joining so
Absolutely.
much. And until next time, Skol Vikes.
Thanks, everyone. Skol.
Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.